Welcome to the Taking a Breath podcast with Parker Mays.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the Taking a Breath podcast. I've got something special for you guys today because if you have not heard, I launched Taking a Breath retreats, weekend leadership retreats for college students and college age students for those who have not chosen the traditional education route. But it was a really incredible time, weekend with 10 guys where we were able to learn from each other, grow together. We were able to connect and have an incredible time. And today's episode is actually going to be two guys that were on the retreat. But I'm going to start off with the conversation that I'm in right now with Colby Silva. He's one of my good buddies that actually he and I met on August 19th. 2020 through a good friend of mine, Miller Outen. He is a fellow NC State student, and he connected us, me and Colby. And ever since then, Colby has taken massive action on his personal growth, his development. He has met and worked with people like Thomas Armstrong, Greg Santos from the podcast. And so he and I are in some of the same social circles now and really focused on our growth together. But he made the choice to invest in the Taking a Breath pilot retreat, the very first one we've ever done. So Colby, I wanted to welcome you today. Thank you so much for being willing to share your experience with Taking a Breath retreats, man.
Dude, thank you. That's crazy that you got the date, the point of when we got connected. But yeah, no, I'm very grateful to be able to share my experience. But I guess to, hit on the first question, like what made me really want to join. And like you said, I'm very big into my personal development and improving myself. And so I've been on some retreats and I really, really value going to retreats and trips and event settings because you go there as someone and you come out someone different. And so I had that intention and saw the value of it, but also I really saw the value of what you created with bringing, student-based people on a peer level to an experience where we're having fun, adventuring, connecting with each other, but also really having those group settings where it's focused on growth and how we can really improve ourselves. And so I really resonated with the message and your vision of it. And I saw it and I was like, this is something that's going to be very special. And I want to be a part of it. And plus, I wanted to support you and meet you in person. And so it was a no-brainer for me. This is where we're going to help bring in the focus on why the value is so important to join. But
100%. And I appreciate you making that investment, even when there was no evidence for it yet. Now you are one of the people that are evidence to how powerful this can be. And it's so cool that that you're investing in yourself in terms of connections that you're making, in terms of learning that you're doing. And, guys, Colby is 19 years old and already taking really massive steps towards his growth. And so that's where I see so much potential is, whether you're 19, 20, 21, any of those 18 to 22-year-old age ranges, there's so much potential for you to massively change the trajectory of your life based on who you know and what your focus is. So that's killer. And then I wanted to follow up on that. So we made these transformation plans at the beginning of the weekend. We said by Sunday, this was Friday, mid-afternoon, mid-evening. We said, hey, by Sunday, what do you want to make happen through this weekend? I would love for you to share yours, Colby. And not only that, but share from Friday to Sunday, were you able to achieve that? And what did it look like for you?
Okay, no, awesome. I really like the point you said that you can take one moment to change the trajectory of your life, because I honestly believe in that, because that's what happened with you. Having that one connection opened so many doors for me. And so going into the weekend, though, my plan was just to connect with people and make one solid relationship. And then at the same time, share my ideas to the group, but also to the world of what I'm doing. And so I wanted to vlog it and create a documentary, I guess, of it for the people outside to see what's going on. And I really felt like I accomplished all of that. I did build one really strong relationship that I'm very happy about and excited to work with this person more and what it's going to lead to in the future. But throughout that experience, it was just like, it felt right off the gate when I got there for lunch, and then being able to connect with people and just really vibe well. And then it was cool to sit down and have that little spark, then carry into a big flame into Saturday or into the Friday evening session where people started being really open and vulnerable of sharing who they are. And then that just like it continued to grow more and more and more. And so me getting to really connect with people and see who they really are and, see where their brain at and where their heart is at. There was a lot of power within that for me. And being able to share my ideas and my wisdom through the stuff I experience and what I believe, what has helped me and seeing the impact it had on people. When you're sharing it and then someone's like, whoa, we all get sparked up a little bit. And so that's really cool. That's a really cool experience to have. And then be able to post all of it on social media and then people watching it. And then now people are like, yeah, it looked amazing. It looked super cool. Like, what is it that you were doing? It was just like, my purpose for that was to get people curious about it, getting people to, want to have an experience like this where you're having fun and growing and connecting all at the same time while transforming your life. And I really feel like I accomplished that because people saw what I was doing and they got curious. And then the video that Matt Mims made really created that vision even further where it was just like, boom. It was just so beautiful to be a part of, but that was my transformation plan.
I was going to say, and a couple of things that you hit on there is one, between lunch and we get to the house, we're exploring the property because this house is on, multiple acres of land. We're playing ultimate frisbee, a little competition. We're grabbing dinner and having some conversations there. And what we saw was there was connection happening, which opened the door for vulnerability and collaboration in that session, right? So that connection throughout that first day led to that collaboration, idea sharing and building on it that night and then throughout the weekend. So I love that you shared that because that was very intentionally planned on our side to make sure people didn't feel like walking into session one Friday night, they're strangers, right? And I think that was echoed by a lot of people that, hey, I felt comfortable even though I didn't know everyone really well. The other thing you said there was that when people are seeing the content, right? They're seeing your Instagram videos, they're seeing Matt Mims's video, which if anyone hasn't seen that yet, gotta check out Matthew Mims on YouTube. He made a video for us that was just absolutely incredible. But as people are seeing testimonial after testimonial of your videos and Matt Mims's, they're seeing credibility attached to it. They're realizing that, oh, these people that I don't know are saying they had a really solid experience. And that was what we needed to build, right? We saw that, hey, there's these people that we know that could build the credibility for the people that we don't know to say, hey, this could be something that I could invest in. So, I have to thank every single one of the 8 people that invested for the very first time, because it's just opening up doors so that more people can experience that life change and those sessions and those connections that you guys were able to. And that's where I think that the biggest value from this first group was. I wanted to ask you, so speaking of the sessions, right, we did 5 interactive learning sessions throughout the weekend, and moving forward, we're actually changing that down to 4 because, 5 was a lot to pack into one weekend. So we're going to kind of shift it around a little bit, but in a really good way, in a really meaningful way. But I was curious. So out of the 5 sessions, what was your biggest takeaway or the idea or connection that really mattered most for you coming out of the weekend?
I guess it happened day one. The seed was planted in a sense that you have to complete your past before you can move on into the future. And that really stuck with me and it's sticking with me now. But that led up to when our reflection point came, talking about our goals and where we want to go and what do we regret from our past that's holding us back. At first I wanted to go business, but my heart was telling me to go more towards a relationship side that was really bothering me. And so being able to have that moment of reflection and clarity of sitting and writing out what I really wanted with myself, what I really wanted, what actually happened, what am I going to do moving forward now? What's the lessons that I learned from it? That seed of completing my past to precede me in the future has been playing such a vital role in these past few days getting out of it, because it's been difficult and it's been very emotional and allowing all these things to come out. But me having that, being able to complete my past and my emotions and what I'm dealing with, I can see it opening a lot more doors up for me for my future. And so when I heard that, and then having the reflection point, and then being able to have a conversation with you about it, it just really it really shifted my mindset of, okay, this is how I was acting. I was acting more in a sense of everything for my personal growth instead of focusing on others and what I can give to them and who they really are. And so I know another thing that we talked about in our conversation was trading our expectation for appreciation, and not trying to, me not expecting everyone to be so involved and engaged at the level of personal development that I'm at. And, putting that level of, okay, they have to be this. And if they're not, I'm going to keep forcing them and trying to pull them on my path, because by doing that, it's just going to create a lot of disturbancy in the relationship, and it's just going to get really awkward, and then things are going to go apart. And so that was very powerful for me to recognize that I was doing that, and I was, putting that expectation on people in all levels, no matter what it was, and relationship wise. And so that was a very key point of being able to reflect on that seed of completing my past, and then seeing from my past how that was acting out, and then now able to take that in a different direction. So that was very, very powerful for me.
Two things there. One, you said that in order to design your future, you have to complete your past. And that's a big piece from Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt, which is a huge influence for the retreat that we kind of were talking about. That is so key. If you're interested in more about what he's talking about there and what that means, you got to check out episode 48, where I did a solo episode talking about shaping your core narrative. And that's all limiting beliefs. I'm talking about designing your future. So if you're interested in more about what he's talking about there, go one episode back. Absolutely gonna be killer for you in terms of goal setting, really completing that past with the limiting beliefs. The other thing that you talked about there was the trading expectation for appreciation, which was fantastic. And I remember when you shared it in group, which I believe you said that was from Tony Robbins, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From Tony Robbins. And I remember when you shared that in the group, when multiple of us are kind of sharing about our relationships and our different things that are going on. And there was just this like weight to those words because it was hitting so home for so many of us. So I appreciate you bringing that up. It is so true that when we have expectations of others, that naturally we're going to see other people let us down because we're expecting high things, especially you and I who have high expectations of ourselves. It's going to translate into our expectations of others as well. So I appreciate you sharing that. The last question that I have for you is, over the course of the weekend, we made a goal. So we actually set one specific goal for everyone, or I made two, a couple people made two. I don't remember for you, but I was curious, could you share that one or two goals that you actually set? And then what's it been looking like as you've been taking action coming out of the weekend? How has that momentum been building for you?
Yes. So my first goal was to connect with 3 people throughout this week, in a more basis of, asking more about them, being more interested in them, and not coming so much for a personal growth and need. And by doing that, I've been seeing a lot of my conversations flow more easily, and me actually being truly interested in who they are, and allowing them to open up more, and just be more curious and present. And it's a shift. And so it's been happening slowly, but I've had like 3 or 4 conversations this week already, and I can already notice a difference, but it's like, I want to take that more to the next level, because I now understand that's going to be a big part of my growth. So that has been helping me tremendously in the approach of conversations, and how I guess view people, in a sense of how can I help serve them the best, and what do I have within my toolbox that can, provide that value. And so then another thing was sharing my ideas more on social media. And so whether it be through an IGTV video, whether it be through a podcast, whether it be through, a story, or on Snapchat or TikTok, whatever, but to share my ideas and values, and thoughts more. And so that's something I've already been doing, but really honing into it that, okay, I have something of value to give to people. I can give them a different insight and perspective that can really make a transformation in their life, and, help, fulfill a need or desire that they're looking for, and helping them realize that someone else is really out there feeling the same way, and that there is a way to fill that void of feeling. For me, is I want to be seen, And so if I can share my ideas and experience of how I feel and what I've done to, help work on that, then it's going to be able to plant a seed in someone to realize that it's possible.
Absolutely.
And so that's where I'm at the moment, and it's been beautiful.
Dude, Colby is this awesome example, and really everyone from this trip, because we've got this group chat going where people are sharing their wins. They're saying, hey, I'm ordering the planner to get organized. I'm buying the alarm to get out of bed earlier. I am, some people are starting to do some cold showers, reading books. I mean, all of these things. We got the new books coming in, and so Colby, it is so encouraging to see you actually making it happen, right? And I think for you and I, it's so cool for both of us to see the group chat going, encouragements, all of these things, because it's like, oh my gosh, like it didn't end on Sunday, right?
Right.
Sunday was just the momentum for this group to take massive action over the next month, 2 months, 12 months, and it's just about planting that seed like you keep talking about. So I just wanted to thank you for being a part of it and let you know that it's so incredible to see what you're doing in your life, and it's inspiring to me and so many others, and I want you to keep inspiring. At this point, I'm going to pass it over. Ryan Dexheimer is joining us for our next half of the episode, so stick around and we will catch him in just a minute. What's up, everybody? Hey, if you've liked the conversation so far and you're interested in what we're talking about, taking a breath retreats, I want to invite you personally to go to the link in our Instagram bio. It's just flow.page/Parker Mays. And if you type that in, there's going to be one form on that says sign up to hear more about taking a breath retreats. And this is going to be a quick form that you can fill out. I'll give you a call or an email, and I want to personally connect with you if you're interested in attending one of our Taking a Breath retreats. Our next one is coming up May 14th through 16th, and it's going to be based right here in North Carolina. So would love for you to be a part of it. If you're interested, hit that flow.page/Parker Mays and fill out that form, and we will get you more info. Our second conversation testimonial today, I'm excited because Ryan Dexheimer is going to be joining. He is a freshman here at NC State University. He is also in the business school with me, and we met back in August of 2020 through the Impact Leadership Village, which for a lot of you, I was a freshman in the Impact Leadership Village. I was a member and then came back as the president my second year. And that was how our paths crossed, as I was doing a little speaking gig there at the beginning of this school year, and so we just happened to meet, got really close through the community and the opportunities that have presented themselves through Taking a Breath. And so Brian, I'm excited to have you on today. It's really cool to actually be having the conversation on the podcast with you. What was that like for you, that decision to, hey, let's invest in this pilot, this brand new thing? Why did you decide to come on the March Taking a Breath retreat?
Yeah, well, I'll start off with a thank you, Parker. I appreciate you inviting me on. Very kind to be part of the podcast. Coming in as a freshman, I was very, I guess you could say, adamant about exposing myself to the most possible, like the largest amount of opportunities per se. And that took shape in the form of clubs, events, just whatever I could get my hands on that would get me out of my dorm room, I would reach for. And that was actually originally how you and I got connected, I suppose you could say. And then further down the line, that's how I got into TAB, Taking a Breath community. And so I figured, what's one more event or opportunity, or in this case, a retreat that could possibly hurt me? I very much, you could say, live by the understanding that any uncomfortable situation will almost always lead to growth. So even if I go in and I'm somewhat out of my element, or I'm uncomfortable, then I'm going to grow in some way, shape, or form. And from that point, there was really no reason to say no.
Tell us a little bit about it. So at the beginning, the very first session, one of the things that we had done after we had some time to connect with people was we made this transformation plan. We said, by the end of the weekend, this is kind of what I hope to get out of it. I would love for you to share yours. And then over the course of the weekend, did it happen? To what degree? And what did you kind of get out of that transformation plan?
Yeah. When you were first telling me about the retreat and what it's going to look like prior to us even really signing up for it, you had mentioned how there's going to be a lot of other people involved. It's going to be maybe 6, 7, and what it ended up being was 10 of us guys that we really haven't gotten much chance to get to know each other. Besides, of course, everyone had some relation to you. And that was something that really kind of drew me in, was that idea of getting to know 9 or 8 other guys, 8 other members of the community that I've never necessarily met before or had those intimate conversations and really connected with before. And that ties into what my goal kind of was to get out of the week. Obviously, I've been I would call myself a bit of a regular when it comes to the tab events that happen every Saturday. The January accountability group was a blast and I got a lot out of it, but I'm very familiar with the teachings and the lessons that we go over and we practice. And so I had a lot of experience there. I was more so focused on the social aspect. And so that ended up being what my goal was when we set it on Friday, was to go in and to connect with these 9 other people and to learn at least something about them and get intimate with them, whether that's for a quick 5-minute conversation or one of those half-hour drives through or across the mountains. It was really good.
Yeah, that's so good. And to your point, I was the same. I realized that, we're over the course of essentially 48 hours, a little bit, maybe 50, 55 hours, but that there's so many people and we want to connect with everybody. But even I, was having that kind of limit of time. So
Yeah.
I think that was so important of how intentional we were with the time. So using the group sessions to have time to connect and learn about each other, and you mentioned the car rides, right? Like little things like that.
Oh, yeah.
As intentional as we could be. And I think we definitely achieved that goal. I was curious. So talking about the sessions, it's very interactive, collaborative group style sessions. And what out of the weekend was your biggest learning or takeaway? What was kind of topically or from those sessions, what was your biggest learning?
Yeah. Based on what my previous answer was, just getting out and conversing with these other guys, you would think that my answer would be the valuable stories or thoughts or perspectives that I extracted from them. However, that's not necessarily the case. Throughout multiple sessions that we had out of the 5, we touched up a lot on being able to follow through with your goals. I'm very comfortable with setting those goals. However, it's that following through aspect that not only will overcome me, but overcome a lot of people in our generation. And it's very easy to get distracted with the daily occurrences, the day-to-day life, what comes up, what distracts you, what obligations you suddenly have to fill. And I think that this retreat helped me be more proactive and also reactive, to be able to pick up when I'm being distracted and to know when I should take a step back and reconsider my goals, because I become unfocused by what's going on in my day-to-day life. That has been something that over the past few days in coming back, returning from the retreat, has proved very valuable and effective as well when it comes to achieving those small goals that I've been setting.
Yeah, and that's something that's so huge, is when we're in that environment, it's much easier to say, hey, I'm going to follow it through. I'm already starting to take steps. But as soon as we come out of the bubble, as soon as we're out of that weekend environment, part of the key on this goal setting style of retreat, it's like, okay, how can we change our environment in a way that actually makes us, we talk about those activation triggers, the little things that we do to make the goal happen. And I think that part of it is the accountability. Part of it is us checking in on each other and sharing our wins and sharing what's happening. And then the other piece of it is us saying, hey, like I've actually made a plan. I know what my first steps are. I know what this thing looks like. And I think that those combination of things have helped the guys to be able to say, hey, I'm confidently moving in a direction that I want to. And that's what I've seen, from people across the board. I'm curious for you specifically coming out, what was that one goal that you set and how are you taking action on it, even over the first few days since we've been out of it?
In the end of this retreat, what I ended up coming back with was this. And this is a very large, it's like about a paragraph, a little less, that essentially sums up exactly what I want to do with my dietary lifestyle moving on. And this is what it is. Within 2 weeks as of 3 days ago, I must have a greater understanding of the nutrients in foods so that I may find less stress and concern when it comes to eating well. Doing so will allow me to see health and passion results on an insurmountable level. My intention is to touch back into 2 resources I already possess and continue asking the necessary questions so that I truly understand what I need to put into my body to embody my ideal self. And that was essentially my final draft, my masterpiece that I came out of when we wrapped up that final session during the retreat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that you have specifically set goals that have the clear what, you know what you're going to be doing, but they also have the why behind it. That you understand the benefit that it's going to give you. You still understand clearly that it will level up your progress in school, the way you interact, the way you work out, those types of things. So having that clear why, having the what that you're going to do, the process laid out, and then you are really making it happen, which is what I love to see coming out of this type of weekend. Thanks everybody for listening. And if you're interested in more about Taking a Breath retreats and taking a breath in general, check out at Taking a Breath podcast on Instagram. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn at Parker Mays. And I'm excited. Remember that if you're interested in that retreat, there is a link under that flow.page/Parker Mays where I will set up a call with you directly to talk more about if this would be a good fit for you. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the Taking a Breath community this Saturday at 10 a.m. and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for listening to the Taking a Breath podcast with Parker Mays.